We're back on the horse. 12 games on Wednesday in the NBA. Let's take a look at what we're watching for, who's in, who's out, odds, spreads, schedules, and Michael Bolton's.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and you know what? The Great Pyramids of Egypt, how are they built? We'll never find out, I guess. Just a big, big mystery. Also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms, so give it a double bang and a thumb and a comment and all of that stuff. Buy Low, Sell High show was on earlier today, and now we're casting our eyes over to Wednesday. Some big injuries have occurred though. Aaron Gordon, calf strain. That is a long-termer. That is, I'm going to call it 4 weeks is my guess. Peyton Watson is your ad. It will mean more for Julian Strawther. I'm fairly certain of that. But Watson will probably have to play 27 to 31 minutes a night, and that makes him an ad basically everywhere. Strawther, less so. I don't think it does anything for Westbrook. I don't think it really does anything for Christian Brown at all. These guys are already playing their roles and it doesn't change much there. The other one is Jeremy Sochan, who, after being a great pick that we loved getting at the end of drafts, has a fracture in his thumb and he's having surgery. That's 6 weeks, maybe even 8. That's a long-termer as well. Last game, they started Steph Castle in his place in the second half. He barely did anything in that role. We are going to have complicating factors in San Antonio because Devin Vassell is returning in maybe this week. But the guy to add, I believe, is Bubbles, Julian Champagnie. Keldon Johnson would be probably the points league preference, but I don't think they'll start him. Deeper leagues, you can look at Castle, but then he'll be even further reduced when Trey Jones returns. And if you are in a deeper league, it probably does mean we get to see a little bit more of the pencil, Harrison Barnes. Barnesy! But your 2 priority ads are Julian Champagnie, across both of these injuries, Julian Champagnie and Peyton Watson. And then it's Strawther and Keldon Johnson. The other one we got is Big Dick Nick Richards, BDNR, fractured rib cartilage. It's at least 2 weeks. I'm thinking that's a month for him at least. It is at least 2 because they say reevaluated in 2. By the way, Hornets medical staff, W for you guys. Thanks for listening to all my feedback. You've been awesome. And that's honestly that's no sarcasm. They've been awesome. It's great to have the level of detail that they are providing, the way that Atlanta does it. Unbelievable stuff from Charlotte and my man, alter ego, Josh Longstaff. So he's out. And Mark Williams is out. Obviously, we dropped Nick Richards because Williams is going to be back before Richards, and they'll start Taj Gibson, and we don't add him. They'll give 10 minutes to Moussa Diabate. And then last game, it's really hard to judge because it was a blowout, but I think that Grant Williams is still probably someone we can look at in 14-teamers, maybe 12s. But it's bad news, obviously. 2 centers down, and not really sure where they're going from here, unfortunately. Just a brutal stretch of injuries over the last week or so. Just terrible stuff. Let's look at Wednesday. There are 12 games on, so we don't get every single team playing, unlike the insanity that was Monday. The first game for us to take a look at here is Detroit and the Charlotte Hornets. The aforementioned Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are 1.5-point favorites here, which I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. There's a couple of the lines that are out at the moment where I'm going, not really sure. That one's one where that feels like in gambling parlance, a wrong team favored scenario. The Pistons play Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then 4 games in week 4, and the Hornets do the same, and then 3 games in week 4 for them. Asar is out, Bobby Clintman is out, Nick Richards and Mark Williams are out, Daquan Jeffries are out, and Cody Martin is probable. Jalen Duren's last 2 games, the passport legend for Detroit, have been much better. So we want to see whether that continues, or will he be capped again at 30 minutes? And Isaiah Stewart comes in and does his thing. Someone said to me, man, I can't believe Josh is flipping on Isaiah Stewart and thinks he's good now. No, absolutely not. But what I've always said with Isaiah Stewart, a very capable backup center. He's not a starting center. He's not a starting power forward. He is a long-term backup center. And he is now playing the role that he should have been playing, the role he was born to play, baby. He should have been doing that the whole time. So now, like, he's fitting in. He's doing really well at it. Doesn't mean I think he's good. Doesn't mean I think he should be doing more. This is his role, and we are finally there 5 years later. Duren needs to work, obviously, on a lot of defensive stuff, and I just want to see how they manage that in Detroit. On Charlotte's side of things, it's hard to judge. Last game, I thought Trey Mann did enough to be held onto, but it was a blowout. So what happens? LaMelo and Charles Lee are like fighting, apparently. Brandon Miller's minutes and shooting are well down. Miles Bridges looks fat and lazy. Maybe lazy is the wrong term. He doesn't look as athletic, and he just stinks. He will improve with his shooting, I'm sure. But where does Mann fit? Are they going to push him to 22 minutes? I don't think so, but I want to see it. Who are the streamers? Let's just throw in Tim Beasley Jr. in here because I don't know whether it's Tim Hardaway or it's Malik Beasley. I don't know which one of them. One of them is going to have 18 points or in 4 threes, and the other one will have 7 points on 12% shooting or something, and it'll be a back and forward. We know this. We just don't know who it's going to be. On the Charlotte side of things, probably is Grant Williams as the streamer, even though you might get 6 points from him, but you might get a steal, a block, 3 assists, and 7 rebounds. He's a bit of an accumulator versus a, wow, that's exciting stuff. I talked about the Aaron Gordon injury, the Jeremy Sochan injury, and the BDNR injury to begin the show. But there's also Wendell Carter dealing with the plantar fascia issue. I don't know how long he's going to be out. He missed a bit of time with this last season, as well as a hand and a knee injury. What we know at the moment is the Pacers, who are hosting the Magic in this one, they are 7-point favorites. The Magic and Pacers both go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and both teams play 3 games in week 4. Paolo is out, and Wendell Carter is out. Aaron Nesmith is going to be out for a few weeks in Indiana, and Andy Nembhard is questionable, even though he played last game. I expect that Nembhard plays. What we saw last game in Orlando is that Goga Bitadze started over Mo Wagner, and Goga's an ad. Like, just straight up, if he plays 26 minutes a night, which he did in his first game back, that's a clear ad. I don't know how long Wendell's out for. And yeah, this is the hard part, right? Because we look at that schedule where they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They're all high-volume days. Monday, Wednesday, what did I say? No, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That's what I meant. That you might sit there, go, what if I don't actually start Goga any of those days? It's possible, right? It is possible. Short-term streaming is not an ideal scenario on these days. But often we need to look at it as how important is it that I get a game on Thursday? How important is it that I get one game out of 45 for the week on Thursday versus someone who might be usable for 4 weeks? That's your Peyton Watson dilemma. That's your, well, not so much Julian Champagnie or Keldon Johnson because the Spurs have got a great schedule. But like the Watson one, there'll be people who are like, I'm not adding him, I'm not going to play him this week. Oh well. Like when we did the week 3 preview at the beginning of this week is for stashing. It's not for streaming. Don't miss out on a guy you might get 4 to 5 week value out of so you can get 14 minutes of Zach Collins on Thursday. Actually, you know what? I take that back. You do whatever the hell you want. That is how I would approach that. I'm not going, man, I can't with this guy. I can't add him because I won't play him for one day this week. Who cares? That is how I view that. Like, I'd rather, now if it's a one-day injury, then yeah, you're right. You don't make that move. But if it's something that can linger, and calf strains can, and broken thumbs are a long-term thing, and plantar fascia is a long-term thing, then yeah, I'll grab someone now, and if I actually don't play them and we see where it goes, that's actually a perfect spot. I'll go back to Peyton Watson, because if you don't have to start him, it's great. You can see how they use him, and maybe it is the right call, maybe it's the wrong call, maybe he plays 20 minutes, maybe he's not what you need. But you actually get to see it without having to fully deploy it. But like I said, approach it however you want. That is how I do it, and that is how I will always do it in the early parts of the season. Streaming, it's always a ramp, right? The level of incline on it's up to you. But the importance of streaming, the importance of playing schedules, increases as we go on. And when you hit the playoffs, that's really so much of what it's about. But in week 2 and week 3, it's small, man. That's what she said. Yeah, so like we're watching Goga and Mo Wagner and how the minutes shake out. And on the Pacers side of things, with Aaron Nesmith out. We're seeing Ben Mathurin start. He struggled a little bit last game, but he's a good free throw player, obviously. He scores pretty well. Long term, I'm not sure that it's there, but I do think that Nesmith is out for a period of time here. Goga's the stream guy in Orlando. It's not Tristan Da Silva. It's not Mr. Black. It's not Mo Wagner. Well, that's not true. You could stream Mo. You could look at Da Silva in deeper formats, but to me, the clear one there is Goga. That's a clearer value play. Whereas the Black, Da Silva, Mo Wagner, whoever else they want to chuck into that mix, that sort of triumvirate is going to be up and down, I feel. Indiana, Obi Toppin played 24 minutes last game because he has to play center minutes now, and that's going to be bad for the team, but he's going to have to do it, and 24 minutes might end up enough as a 12-team league guy, and their backups, they're not coming back. So Obit could do this. He could do it literally all season. Today's episode is brought to you by Hims. Gentlemen, problems in the bedroom are something that have been around forever. We know this. These are not a new invention. And sometimes those intimate moments might happen spontaneously. But can you spontaneously get hard? Can you last as long as you need to? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not here to judge. It happens to everybody. And these are medical conditions. Hims is able to provide access to the treatments that can help you stay hard and last longer, giving you the boost of confidence that you need to be ready whenever the mood strikes. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Hims provide access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis and their generics for up to 95% cheaper. Just answer a series of questions on their site and a medical provider will determine the right treatment options, and if prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That is HIMS.com/lockedon. For your personalized ED treatment options, hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Okay. Let's go in now and find what we need to hit on next. What is the next thing we need to hit on? Next game. That is what we're hitting on. The third game of the day, it is the New York Knickerbockers and the Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks are favored here by 7.5 in Atlanta. New York, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Atlanta's got the Saturday game, so pay attention to that. They go Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Knicks have 4 next week. The Hawks 3. Mitchell Robinson's out. Precious Achiuwa's out. Cameron Payne is questionable. Very, very skeptical that he's going to be available to play. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kobe Buffkin, Vic Krejci are all out. DeAndre Hunter is questionable. Mohamed Gay is questionable for the Hawks. And Trae Young, who suffered a rib sprain yesterday, is probable. So it looks like we've avoided any problems there. And if we've avoided the problem that if you play on ESPN and you're trying to stream in Keaton Wallace, you can't because he's not in the system. Also, shout out to my man Johnny Juzang, who's playing his 3rd NBA season and is still not an available option to pick up on ESPN. And in case you're wondering, don't play fantasy on ESPN. They don't care about fantasy on ESPN. They don't care. The company does not care. They don't put the resources into it. They don't care. And this is the evidence. Some of it anyway. So what are we watching for here? The Jedi. OG Anunoby. He's been awesome the last 2 games. He's not concentrating on scarves anymore. He's out there. He's scoring in big bunches because he was really disappointing early on. The usage wasn't there. The shooting was way off. It swung too far in the opposite direction, but it's encouraging. Let's see where it sits here. While Onyeka Okongwu, last game, we were back in business. Does that mean we continue to be back in business, or is Quinn Snyder going to Okongwu us all the way through? I think it might be the latter. Juice McBride is the stream guy because, like, who else is playing any minutes on this team? But as we are well aware, he was terrible yesterday. And then maybe it's Keaton Wallace. DeAndre Hunter being out would help guys like David Roddy and Garrison Matthews do more. But there's just, Wallace is getting his 20 minutes. He had some really good defensive numbers last game. Hunter's status is one of those ones that does complicate the entire setup, but we don't know about that at this point. Golden State travels to take on Boston. The Warriors are 7.5-point underdogs against the Celtics. Both of these teams have a Wednesday, Friday, Sunday this week, and the Warriors have a 2-game week next week, and the Boston Celtics have 3. Melton is out. Podziemski left the last game with an illness. He is in. Jaylen Brown remains out, 3rd consecutive game, and Kristaps Porzingis, of course, remains out for Boston. I want to really be paying attention to what is going on with John Kuminga, because we are at the stage now where it's just 24 minutes a night, and that is honestly not enough. Now, an argument could be made that an injury could happen to somebody else and he would rise up, and that's possible. But we had Wiggins miss games, and we had Steph miss games, and he was still mid. So I'm not sure what's happening for him, to be honest. Peyton Pritchard is continuing to cook, and I think he'll continue to cook here again. We always just want to get some signs to see if anything changes. I don't think it will, but we're on the lookout for that. Kevon Looney is probably a stream guy for Golden State, especially if Boston does go the 2 bigs, which they've done the last 3 games. It's either Cornette and Horford or Nemesh Cater and Horford. I think it might be Cater again, but honestly, who knows? And then, so yeah, whoever it is, whether it is Cater or it is Cornette, whichever one of those guys is the starter in Boston, that does become a stream option for us. We also really want to watch the Podziemski minutes, the Buddy Hield minutes, and how Golden State continues to deploy their million options that they have. The Lakers and the Grizzlies, this one in Memphis. That's the next game we take a look at. The spread for this one's even. It's a pick'em, as you would say. Both teams, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Both teams, 3 games in week 4, and there's a lot of injuries. Christian Wood is out, Jared Vanderbilt Barr is out, and Anthony Davis, the questionable cycle begins. He's got heel pain. He did not look comfortable at all yesterday. He said this is an ongoing problem, so I don't think that he misses, but this is going to be an ongoing thing. I'm very certain of that now. D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves are both probable. While for Grizzlies, that's, man, it's just there's so many things you say in the English language where it all sounds right and you leave one stupid little word out like the, and it sounds dumb. I said, let's look at Grizzlies. That is stupid. But if I said the Grizzlies, it makes complete sense and it sounds normal. It's like saying, I don't even know. There's so many of those. It's dumb. It's annoying, and I apologize for that assault on your ears. The Grizzlies. Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, Vince Williams, Gigi Jackson are all out. Johnny Conchar is doubtful, but Luke Kennard, the Duck, has been upgraded to questionable. How much do they play him with guys like LaRavia and Jalen Wells and Scottie Pippen getting all these minutes? That will be interesting to watch. Because if Kennard is back and healthy, where do the minutes get cut? Because we want to see that, because guys like LaRavia and Wells and Pippen are playing well and they're useful. What are we watching for? For the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell struggling. We talked about it on the Buy Low, Sell High show this morning. The shots just need to go in, man, and I'd like to see that start to happen. For the Grizzlies, last game, Zach Edey cooked the Brooklyn Nets. I saw a Nets beat reporter, I think it was, said it looked like Gulliver's Travels with Zach Edey out there against literally nobody big at all for the Nets. And that is part of why I think he was able to be so successful. Against Anthony Davis, LeBron, I'm not so sure. But it's another data point, isn't it? Because Edey was bad, got worse, had 2 average or below average games, and then had a monster. So, which way's it going? Are we back to 22-minute low-end double-double? Is he going to cook at 27 minutes, or is he going to get absolutely roasted by Davis? The Lakers' stream options are very minimal, so Gabe Vincent, but like, yeah, who cares? And on the Grizzlies, Jalen Wells has probably got some value. Now, this is a 12-game day. I'm not going to do a full stream of the day section at the end because, again, I think most of you won't be streaming. But for some of you that are looking to do that and have that ability, I'm obviously mentioning some names that could be someone to look at while also talking about their long-term viability. And Wells might not have any because, again, Kennard is returning and other guys will start to come back and that will have an issue there. The San Antonio Spurs and the Houston Rockets. I know there are 3 teams in Texas, but I feel like the Texas teams have just played each other every day. There's always something going on. San Antonio, Dallas, Houston. They're just playing each other back and forward, round robin style. Are they not allowed to leave the state? Why can't they get out of Texas? Something going on there that I don't know about. Power grid meltdown. What happened? Rockets are 6.5-point favorites. The Spurs play the Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So they've got the 2 quality games coming up. That really improves the value of Champagnie and Keldon Johnson. And the Rockets have the standard Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. 4 games for both teams next week. Sochan is out. Vassell is out. Trey Jones is out. Steve Adams is out. I'm very worried about Adams. He played 2 days ago. Now he can't play again. So he's just going to play every second game. And then Dylan Brooks and Tari Eason are both questionable with an illness. So obviously an illness is going through the team. Just be aware of that. If either Brooks or Eason misses, that means Amen Thompson is going to do more. He's going to have to do more. They'll probably have to play a little bit more of Cam Whitmore as well, who was DMP'd last game. Chris Paul's playing 32 minutes a night. Is that real? Is that going to hold? I think for now, yeah, at least it will. And then we can assess that and rejudge it at another point. But at the moment, I think he might. And on the Rocket side of things, it is about watching Amen Thompson's minutes. And there are two real opportunities here with Tari and Dylan Brooks both questionable that Amen's minutes could push up. Now, last game, Brooks got into foul trouble. Jalen Green was terrible. Jabari Smith was benched. And Amen got big minutes again. He is a tough one to figure out all the time. There's no clear starting role here. He was playing 18 minutes a night, and now Udoka has sort of switched on some of his strategies, and that's enabling Amen to be solid. So you do grab him, and then we see where it goes. Champagnie's the stream for San Antonio, but he's just a long-term ad. We reassess it when Vassell comes back. Keldon Johnson could have the edge over Champagnie in a points league, like we talked about, and Castle is a deeper league guy, and a very deep league guy is old mate Sandro Mamakelishvili. On Houston, it's probably Dylan Brooks as a stream guy if Tari and Amen are gone. But Brooks himself might not even be available to play. So, yeah, we don't need to get overly excited about that. Today's episode is brought to you by Built. If you're renting and you feel like you're stuck in a loop of rent payments, I'm sure you've all been there at some point in your life or you're currently there. And it's frustrating. It's dispiriting at times that you're just watching your money vanish into thin air. So it's time to turn that rent game around and start earning some serious rewards, and that's where Built Rewards comes in. Built is breaking ground as a neighborhood rewards program. It hooks you up with points on your rent. Every month, you pay your rent and you watch the Built points roll in. Use points to jet off on that dream vacation. Put your points towards a flight or a hotel stay with 500 plus airlines and 700,000 plus holidays and properties. You can also use your points to book fitness studio classes, redeem them towards a future rent payment. They are designed to meet your lifestyle. Pay rent hassle-free through the Built Rewards app, your rent game. It just got a major upgrade. Built points have been consistently ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy and Bankrate. So earn points by paying rent right now when you go to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That is joinbilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA to start earning points with your rent payments today. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Game Time app. Events, tickets, it's here. A new feature on Game Time, the old Game Time picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. It cuts out all of the fluff. Gets rid of it. Fluff gone. You don't see any fluff on this anymore. It is a filter to get you those incredible deals on great seats. That is what Game Time picks bring you. All-in pricing is another great thing they have. You can toggle that on in the app, and what it does, it just shows you the total cost of your tickets up front. No surprises at checkout. It's just there. And you can also go in and buy tickets in seconds. 2 taps is all it takes on Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Okay. That should bring us now into the next game as we try to roll through all 12 of these games. The next one is Cleveland and the New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, there are a million players out in this one. Even the Cleveland side's got a couple there. The Cavs are 7-point favorites, and this is one of the ones where I go, what's going on with that? Like, Cleveland's one of the best teams in the NBA. Yeah, they're traveling to New Orleans, but look at the Pelicans, man. What, 7 points? It is a lot, but is it enough? I don't think so. The Cavs have Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so they've got a low volume on Saturday and then 4 games in week 4, whereas the Pelicans are done after Friday. They've got 2 more games this week, Wednesday, Friday. The outs, Max Strus, Dean Wade, both out. Karis LeVert and Jalen Tyson are questionable, while for the Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, CJ McCollum are all out, and Zion Williamson and Jordan Hawkins both missed the last game. They're both questionable here. Donovan Mitchell struggling a bit. They're keeping his minutes down. His shooting is not quite where it needs to be. And that's, I say it's not like okay, but it's sort of what wasn't far off expecting. Better, I expect him to be better, to be clear. But it's a little bit, it's not a huge shock to me that we're seeing this with Mitchell, a bit of preservation mode. So let's see how they utilize him here in this one again. And then for the Pelicans, Yves Missi. He's starting. The minutes are fine. He's not doing anything. Like, what is he as a fantasy player? I think there's the idea that maybe he's a must roster, and I don't know that I believe that, especially for points leagues, but let's see what happens with him. Stream guys we can look at. Sam Merrill probably in Cleveland, especially if we get LeVert out again. He played a lot of minutes last game. The one that's more important, though, I think, is Brandon Boston Jr. We got really good BJ last time out for the Pelicans. He started, he played big minutes, and he was great. But remember, there was no Hawkins, and there was no Zion. If Hawkins is out, I'm pretty sure that Boston will start again. And he's actually a player that I like. I like him more than Jamal Cain. He's a guy that was drafted really late in his draft class from Kentucky. I think there's still more here, and I think we're seeing it at the moment. I wouldn't say he's an ad. Their schedule's terrible, right? You definitely wouldn't use him in 14-team leagues this week. You wouldn't, and then he doesn't play on the weekend. But it's one to watch, and we'll see what happens with Hawkins and Zion. Last game, they started Jeremiah Robinson early in place of Zion. He could be someone to look at, but again, his value is relatively low that I don't think that he would be a super stream priority. Chicago and Dallas, the Mavericks 10.5-point favorites here against whatever this Bulls team is. I'm guessing that the lines set here are assuming an absence for Zach LaVine. Both teams have 3 more games this week. Chicago has the Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday combo, while Dallas has Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. 4 games each of those teams in week 4. Lonzo's out, and Zach LaVine is questionable. Now, LaVine is not dealing with the shoulder issue here. That's not what kept him out. It's an adductor issue. Another one. The 20 millionth adductor injury this season. Someone said, because I was saying about a lot of core injuries, someone said adductor is not a core injury, it's through your legs. But like, I mean, come on. I know it's not your abdominal zone, but it's the muscle that pulls through from the hip through to the front of your torso. To me, that's core. That's a part of your torso, and it's about stabilizing your whole body. No? I guess I'm wrong? I don't know. To me, adductor is a part of the core setup. But technically, it's not, because it's not oblique, it's not abdominal. Yeah. Anyway. So like you have to be a little bit worried about Zach there, and with him out, and with a good schedule, Ayodosumu's value rises significantly. You'll notice that it's taking 2 players out for Dosunmu to get there, and that's okay. It just doesn't necessarily mean that it's long-term always going to be there. Giddey, Jalen Smith, and Pat Williams are all probable. And then for the Mavericks, sort of out of nowhere, old mate PJ Washington's out with a knee sprain. Don't have any further information on that, but knee sprain sounds innocuous, but it might not be. So I hope that that's okay. So I don't know what else they're going to do apart from start Najee Marshall. I think they have to. Maxi Kleber's out, Dante Exum's out, and Derek Lively missed the last game as being questionable. I want to pay a little bit of attention to Kobe White because I haven't watched, I haven't been talking much about Kobe White, who started off the season very up and down and has sort of settled into a rhythm. And with LaVine out, it does give him an opportunity to boost some of the numbers. So let's pay a little bit of attention there. But then Marshall's the one to watch in Dallas. He was really good last game. He played small ball center. They probably won't be able to play him small ball center because there's no 4. But what they also could do is they can get Omax Prosper in there. Olivier Maxence Prosper. He might have to. Does Markieff Morris still play? I think he does. Or did he get cut? Actually, let's have a look. Let's have a look at that, actually. I think Markieff got the ass because he was on this team for a period of time. I'm sure someone in chat already knows this. I'm pretty sure he got cut because he was there and then they moved off. Let's have a look. No, he is there, Markieff Morris. Wowee. Are we going to get Markieff Morris minutes? God, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Stream guys are Dosunmu, and then Marshall, probably a 14-team league option, unless we get a little bit more information on PJ Washington to see what sort of length of time we're dealing with here. The Thunder and the Nuggets is the next game for us to take a look at. We already talked a little bit about the Denver injury situation. The Thunder are only 6.5-point favorites here. I think that could be maybe too low. Both teams go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Denver only 2 games next week, so I know there's going to be people that use that as a justification for not adding Peyton Watson, and I understand that. It's 3 high-volume games this week and then 2 next week. I would still add him. I think it still could be good enough to add. OKC has 4 next week. Hartenstein, Pig Williams, and Kenrich Williams are all out. Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon are out, while Vlatko Čančar, I had him questionable, but he's actually doubtful now. Alex Caruso, I don't think we hold on to him. At some point, if it changes, we re-add him, but just drop him. The minutes are just well below what I thought, so we can move on there. And then, of course, we want to see what happens with Peyton Watson. We want to see what the role is like. Do they just start him and play him 32 a night? I think it's possible. I don't think they'll be Strawther, but it could be. Because your defense would be a real problem, though, with Strawther and Michael Porter at the 3 and the 4. I think you're in real strife in that scenario. So I think Watson has to start. Cason Wallace would be the Thunder streamer. Doesn't mean he starts or not. Who cares? He's going to be all over the shop there. But Russell Westbrook was awesome last game. He was terrible the one before. But with Jamal Murray out, Westbrook is a stream option. And I think if you added Westbrook for Wednesday, you might start him. That's debatable. Longer term, it's definitely Watson. But you might use Westbrook in the short term. Miami and Phoenix is the next game up for us here. This one is in Phoenix, of course. Is it still called Talking Stick? I don't know. Phoenix are 5-point favorites. Both teams go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Miami has 3 games, week 4. Phoenix has 4. And injury-wise, it's unbelievable. Look at that. What a list. It's so small. 2 players. Jaime Jaquez out. Kevin Love out. That's it. Phoenix, unbelievably, no one. Now, Bradley, actually, that's not true, because I think they popped Bradley Beal back on there just after I created this thing. Yeah, he's probable. So, we're good. I want to watch Nikola Jovic, who I think is potentially streamable, but the minutes remain unpredictable. I don't think we care in 10 or 12 or probably 14-team leagues for Jovic, but we just pay a little bit of attention to how they're utilizing him. And then for the Suns, someone said, man, I wanted to hear about Tyus Jones. Well, here you go. Jones is, I think, settling into the role that I thought he would play. A 28-minute-a-night starter who gets some assists at times, but overall just doesn't really get the ball in his hands that much, because why would you? Why would you want the ball in his hands when Durant, Booker, and Beal exist? That is why I wasn't ever interested in Tyus as a top 100 player, because I just didn't think that it was a fully fleshed out 33-minute-a-night regular starting point guard role. So, and it is trending towards that. And then with Grayson Allen sort of pushing into a few more minutes, that's going to impact Tyus somewhat there as well. So let's watch where his minutes go. And Grayson played 24 last game. I think Grayson still needs 30 to be a 12-team league guy, but he's definitely streamable here if you're considering that or if you've got that ability to do it. But that is an impact more on Tyus, I think, long-term than where Grayson's value sits as a must-roster guy. Toronto and Sacramento. Obviously, a lot of injuries happening here in Toronto. The Kings are 10.5-point favorites at home. The Raptors have an interesting schedule. They play Wednesday, and then they've got the weekend back-to-back that nobody else does, Saturday, Sunday. And Sacramento goes Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Scott Barnes is out. Bruce Brown is out. Kelly Olynyk is out. Emmanuel Quickley, the doubtful legend, is doubtful. Did Toronto hire Charlotte's old medical staff? I don't know. Quickley, I hope, is back quickly, but it's not quickly. It's 2.5 weeks. Hopefully soon. Devin Carter, Orlando Robinson remain out, while Kevin Huerter and his illness are still questionable. Grade A Dick has been cooking at the moment in Toronto. He put up big defensive numbers last game. His usage is through the roof. He's shooting unbelievably. He wasn't included in my sell high, but he's a clear sell high. He will not be able to continue to do this. I can assure you of this. Number one, he plays in Canada, so that's always a detriment. There's a conversion rate. It's something about currency. I don't know. But he's not going to do that. Obviously is a joke. But it's just very clear to me that he will not do this. Because Quickley and Barnes are going to come back, and he's not going to be prioritized as the number 2 offensive guy. He's not. For now, though, he is. And this is where the buy low, sell high pain period comes in. Because if you sold off on grade A Dick now, you might actually miss a week and a half of really good numbers. But then you might have cashed in value for 19 weeks after that. On the King side of things, Malik Monk, lower minutes last game. He did have some foul trouble there, but the Michael Brown annoyance with the playing time remains, and I just want to keep watching how it looks. Davion Mitchell with Quickley out is a great assist in steal stream, and speaking of steal stream, Keon Ellis, that's what he does. And if Kevin Huerter is out, he started last game, he probably starts again, and we still don't really know what will happen when Huerter plays, but there's value in utilizing him at the moment, and if you are desperate for steals long term, maybe he gets 20 a night, I don't know. The last game, we're talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and the LA Clippers. The Clippers are 1.5-point favorites here, interestingly enough. The Sixers and the Clippers both go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Philadelphia, 3 games in week 4, and the Clippers have 4. Joel Embiid is out, but he is suspended for 3 games for the incident with the reporter Marcus Hayes. And that suspension starts on Wednesday, meaning that means that the league and the Sixers believe that he is healthy enough to play. It will be very interesting that after those 3 games he doesn't play, But this is the clearest indication we have that there are 3 more games and then Embiid returns. So Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, he will not play. Guaranteed. And that means beginning of week 4, Joel Embiid should be available. Kawhi Leonard is out and his return, I have no idea. It's not happening this week. And Mo Bamba remains out as well. Kyle Lowry actually somehow putting up top 120 numbers. I don't really believe that it holds, but Jared McCain moved out of the rotation. Kelly Oubre is Kelly Oubre. And Lowry continues to do some good stuff. So I just want to see whether that's any way continuable. Ivica Zubac's another one that I want to watch. He started off really hot. Some of the percentage stuff has been somewhat iffy. He's cooled off a little bit. I don't think that it's a massive cool off. I still think that he's in a really good spot, but just a little bit more focus there. Caleb Barton is probably a stream guy, or it's Lowry, either one of those players. And then for the Clippers, we've seen Derek Jones lose a little bit of value with somewhat of a shoulder issue, and Chris Dunn has picked it up. So I'm okay with considering it Dunn, but you got Amir Coffey. You got Dunn as options there. Even Kevin Porter's pushed from like a 14-minute into 17-minute player. We don't really care about that in most formats, but it is something that happened. Let's have a quick look now at just some schedule stuff in terms of the chunkiness for the rest of this week. And with the chunks, what I had been doing is looking at the five-day period, just who's the guy we want to look at. I'm going to be more specific, more intentional here of looking at the lower volume days. So these are the guys that you can use on Thursdays and Saturday of this really weird and lopsided week where there's value. And it's Spurs, it's Champagnie, it's Keldon Johnson, it's Patrick Williams and Ayo Dosunmu. Now, Dosunmu will be much higher than this if Levine is out, clearly. It's Harrison Barnes, and it's actually Cody Williams as well. Because as much as we don't love what Williams brings, he might play 60 minutes on low volume days. He might get you 16 combined points with 6 rebounds and 4 assists and 2 steals across 60 minutes. And that's not too bad. He's deprioritized behind Champagnie and Johnson and Williams and Dosunmu and even Barnes. And I would 100% rather get a Peyton Watson or a Goga Bitadze, even if I don't start them, versus trying to stream in Cody Williams. But if you are looking and find a way to get maximum games in, well, that's a direction that you can go. And that is the end of the show. Tell me a nice comment. Give me something positive down below. You know, sometimes we all feel a little bit sad and we want a little bit something to pick us up. So give me a nice little comment down below rather than me fighting with YouTube commenters all the time. Hit the thumbs up as well on the video and double bang and listen to the audio side of it as well. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.